So, welcome to this month's Financial Empowerment Roundtable, where we are here as the Mitchell Consulting team to help you bridge the gap between your passion and your profit. And one of the ways we do that is through education. And that's what Financial Empowerment Roundtable is all about. We want an open forum where people can come and ask questions based around a topic that we find that most business owners have about their businesses. And it's a place where you can get your questions answered. So join us monthly, the second Wednesday of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern. So, hi, my name is Michelle Mitchell. I am the founder and CEO of Mitchell Consulting. We have been in business now for 14 years, and our primary goal is to help you bridge the gap between what you know about business and how that impacts your financials. And we have built a team around delivering services to small business owners. And we have Evan, who is our accounting supervisor, Lauren, who is our business advisor, and Eric, who's our bookkeeper, to help our small business owners do exactly what we say we're going to do, which is give you knowledge about your finances so you can make better financial decisions about your business. So our topic for today is goal setting. And goal setting is important to me. Is one of the things that I do on a regular basis is really work on our goals and how we're going to accomplish what we have envisioned. And that starts with vision. So vision is seeing where you want your business to be in the future. And these words on this slide depicts what a visionary is. It's leadership, it's business empowerment, it's the support of your business. It's to influence your potential clients, it's to mentor your team. Like it builds confidence. So having a vision for your business and then breaking that down into key objectives of the things that you want to accomplish in a certain period of time is really key to business growth and business sustainability. So once we're clear about where we're going, then we can decide, like, what are the objectives that is going to take in order for us to get there. And I know goal setting is huge in January, and I think Lauren's going to talk about this in a second. It's huge in January, but we thought that taking a look at our goal setting process in February is an even better time to do that. So, Lauren,
Right. So
take
you're
it.
like, oh, it's February. Why are we even talking about this? Because we all set our New Year's resolutions and intentions for the year in the December, January space. But what we are learning through trial and error sometimes is that those goals can be very arbitrary based on emotion, based on like, I need a new thing, I need more revenue. These are the things that are going through our minds as we're setting these goals. But sometimes it's like, okay, wait, if you take a second to see how it's going, it's February, you have more data to kind of reflect on to see, did I even set the right goals? Like, are my objectives making sense for what I actually want? And so we think that we're kind of taking an evaluation of some of those things we said we wanted in the emotional times where we set those goals. Not that all of the goals are based on emotion, but now is a great time to just reflect. It's still very early in the year where you can make decent changes, still in Q1. And so we think it's a really great time to just kind of take stock in where you are and where you're headed and readjust if you need to. So we're just gonna, make a new thing, like February is for evaluation, all of that.
Refinement of the goal,
Refining.
because now you have 30 days of data. Like, how did it go?
Right. Exactly. That's
How
that's
did
a
it go?
lot of data. More
That's
data
a
than
lot
people
of
think.
data. Yeah.
Hmm. So it's not just about, Valentine's Day, even though I eat mad sweethearts during February. Like it's the only time it's available. I'm going in on my Valentine's candy. Just
You
saying.
know what? I saw them yesterday and I didn't buy them. I'm like, no, you don't need that. You don't need
They're
that.
gonna be gone tomorrow though.
I know, but they'll be on sale tomorrow too.
They might be, that's true. That's true.
You get there quick
It's
enough.
our first financial tip.
Right. First financial
Go
tip.
on sale.
Like, wait till after the holidays, gonna go on sale. You can save you a few coins.
Save you
Awesome.
$3, girl.
Right.
All right, swinging it to Evan.
Sure. I also did want to add too on the last slide, like given the time of year, a lot of people set goals in January just because they feel like they're supposed to. So like
Mhm.
we want to make sure that we're like setting them with intention and also, so this we were kind of debating how old this concept is actually earlier. It's like smart goal setting. I'm not going to read through all of them because y'all can all see it, but basically the gist is making sure that you're being a little more informed when you're setting your goals and also not doing it just arbitrarily. Um, Making sure that you're setting yourself up for success. You're setting a goal that is actually attainable, is actually rooted in some sort of data that you have, and also is easy to track so that you're not, setting a haphazard 6 month revenue goal and then month 2, month 3, month 4, you don't really even know what you're looking for to see if you're going to reach that goal. Um, Even though it feels good to set it initially, if you're being a little too loose with it, I would argue that maybe it's going to have like the inverse effect where you're going to get your hopes up and then you're going to feel a little discouraged because you didn't hit a goal, whether or not it was even attainable in the first place. Um, so what we were saying earlier is, kind of thinking of the more subjective side, being, I don't know, goal setting as a visionary, thinking about what your business is, how you're a part of it, kind of how it's an extension of you. And this is to sort of supplement that with let's think big, but let's also think like pragmatically and make sure that we are, doing it appropriately. Because, yeah, like I said, a lot of folks will set goals and, there's nothing real. It's just, I need more revenue. Like Lauren was saying, like, I want to buy X, Y, or Z. So hopefully I have that money in 3 months. That's not really going to get you anywhere. So I feel like when we have these discussions, it's always we have this like subjective side, and then I come in being like, well, we need data to make sure that which I guess means I'm in the right profession, but also is very true.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off of that, like a lot of times when you don't create like more specificity with goals, you kind of get on a trend of discouraging yourself because you're like kind of setting yourself up to not reach just because it's like if I have something that's arbitrary, a lot of times you can't measure it. There may not be a time limit on it. And so you're not purposefully putting yourself in this position to be let down, but it's a lot when you're more specific and in tune and even create smaller milestones for yourself, it kind of gives you the pep in your step to keep going. So it's like, oh, I hit this small goal, and you get the endorphin rush of checking off a to-do or achieving something, and that achievement fuels you to continue to do that. And so when you put those very clear parameters on what achieving this goal looks like, it just kind of can encourage you to continue to do bigger and better things, ideally.
Yeah. I would like to ask Timothy and Tony, like, have you set a goal for 2024? And like, is it a SMART goal? Do you know? Have you measured that goal against this acronym? Like, if you want to share, um, just a question, because sometimes
Well,
we don't know.
I'll share one goal. It's not necessarily a business goal, but a personal goal in
Mm-hmm.
terms of just weight loss.
Mm.
And with that, I had to examine, know thyself. So I know me.
Yes.
So I was on a program that I was trying to do things, do it from home and that type of thing. But I've come to realize that for me to be engaged, I have to have someone actually work me out. So
Mm.
so having
Yeah.
a coach, if you will.
Yes.
So even as we translate that from, a personal goal to whether it's a financial goal,
Mm-hmm.
having a coach is a good idea because it helps keep you accountable. It makes me commit to going and doing the things I need to do to work out, to exercise, those types of things. So I do have a goal set in mind from a personal standpoint in terms of weight loss and just become more physically fit. And I have a coach that I'm working with to keep me accountable for that. So we're doing this for the next 6 months.
Right. Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up, Timothy, because a lot of times, like, we are flawed humans. And even though we really do want something, because we don't put that accountability piece in it, like, we can give ourselves a break, right? Oh, we really don't need to do that, right? We really don't need, but that coach, like, when you're committed, when you're accountable to someone, and it's not being accountable to that person, it's being accountable to what you said you were going to do, and you shared it with someone else who is now going to say, hey, did you do the thing? Like, are your activities that you're doing on a daily basis actually giving you the result that you're looking for? So, and a coach can help you change that frame of mind a lot of times, when you have one. Yeah. So thanks for bringing that up, because that's great. And SMART goals can go for personal and business goals just as well. You can use a SMART goal. So, Tony, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Kind of, yeah. I pulled up my vision planning sheet that I
Mm,
did in January. I was like, oh, I should probably check in with that.
exactly. Checking in with what
Yeah.
you said you were going to do, which is
And
that measurable piece.
yeah, which is kind of cool. So one of the things that we put on our plan for 2024 was to release and start working on company stories, which are it's a new series of videos that we're doing that like help build or help companies showcase who they are in a more authentic way than just like a commercial or just like a blurb on their website. So like a visual representation of like what companies are. And I think we did I feel like we did it smartly. I can't say that I used this acronym to do it, but I feel like the steps in it, I tried to be very realistic with my approach to like releasing it. So it's out. So we did that. Like a lot of the things that we put on our list are actually already done.
That's awesome.
We got our first, I was like, one of our success metrics was get a paid client contract by like Q2, and we already got one. We got one like in Q1. So, I mean, that's nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we released ours. We've filmed one. We got one more. We're supposed to film with MC, Mitchell Consulting, but I don't know, one day. But yeah, so I think that I tried to use like, but I feel like I had talked with you, Michelle, about this prior to like setting up my plan, and I think you had talked to me like in December or something about like how you approach building a smart goal setting.
Yeah. Well, good. Thank you for sharing.
And something else that I got from what Timothy said, like when you said you went and got a coach, I feel like that's kind of just thinking through resources that you would need to attain the goal, which I think is another step sometimes that we don't think of financially. So if I want to increase my revenue by X amount, or I want to add this new service, like you, Tony, or add a new service, like thinking through what that's going to take me personally, like, is it going to take me X amount of hours, or do I have to hire somebody to do that? Do I need to invest in new software or tech or something that would help me achieve this goal to manage more, or to maybe even, I guess, sell higher sale things? Like I need to come across maybe more polished if I'm trying to get higher end clients that will pay for these higher prices. So I think I love that you guys both kind of set this goal, but then kind of took stock in what you would need to attain it. And, thinking through those resources is going to be crucial, because it might cost a little bit to make a little bit. I'm just saying.
I feel
Right.
like what you're saying too, though, is like I didn't. There are some steps that I didn't know I needed to like prepare for, like in terms of cost of developing it. Like it has taken longer than I expected
Mm,
it would be, but I kind of put benchmarks in place ahead of time to kind of check in the process of developing this program too. But I think something I'm taking away from this conversation is that to think about more of the nitty gritty of the steps and like what are the metrics and the cost of hours and time that it takes to reach these goals too.
yes.
Mhm.
And that's the one thing that people don't think about when they set new goals for their businesses, especially financially. Like you're adding a new service to your business, but have we thought all the way through what it would take in order to get that to market so that we're reaching the financial goal we set alongside it, right? So we may not even know all the costs associated with adding that new service to our line of things that we do because maybe we didn't consider something, so yes, a lot of times what people will do is make that goal of adding that new service and, oh yeah, we can generate, if we do X number, we can generate this amount of revenue from that, which impacts your financial goal for your business. But have you considered all the effort and activity that it might take as far as costs go to get that thing to market at at the level of revenue that you are anticipating? So this is why I say we arbitrarily say, oh yeah, if we sell 12 of those, we can make this X amount of money. But have you taken into consideration the effort and the costs associated with getting that thing to that place of hitting the number of items you want to sell? So that's where we take out the arbitrary and really dig into the nitty gritty of like planning out this service so that we know the costs associated with it, the effort that it's going to need, and the time it's going to take in order to reach the financial goal that you set for it. So
Yeah.
Can I throw up a ball for you? So what are some of the actual steps that you've taken in your process to build new programs or like, just make goals? What have you found successful in making it kind of like thinking it all the way through? Is it that, which is pretty much what you're
yeah,
saying? Think it all the way
yeah.
through. Like what has
Think
helped
it all the way through as much as you can, but also when you're actually executing, like you can see the steps that you've missed because maybe you didn't hit that goal. And we're going to talk about the 12-week year in just a second. But when you're tracking the effort it's going to take on a weekly basis, your actual activity that you're doing for it, that's where it comes up like, oh, wow, we didn't think about that. So then it gives you space to adjust the goal. So don't just stick with the same goal you have, like make adjustments to it. So we're adjusting along the way instead of waiting until the end of the quarter and like, well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
We're measuring and assessing along the way.
like
And that's how I found out like things we've missed.
Mhm. Have you done anything to help yourself be open to that adjustment? Because I know sometimes
Mm,
it's really hard to, because when you really want it to work, to be
yes.
like, I can pivot. Like sometimes that's not
Yeah.
something that you as a business owner that you can
Hmm.
like grasp,
Yeah. And being real and being transparent, like I have been disappointed. I have totally been disappointed, felt like a failure because I didn't get the outcome that I was anticipating. But also in the moment, I wasn't willing to pivot, like because I thought I knew, but actually I'm being taught something else. So you have to be agile enough to receive the information coming in to you to let you know whether or not you're still on the right path or or whether or not an adjustment needs to be made. So I've actually been through that. And sometimes you could get halfway through a project that you think is going to be the thing, and you're so disappointed that you just forget, like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. And that doesn't benefit the business itself. So just know that. And where a coach could come in is to, hey, let you be aware, hey, this is not working out the way you thought it was going to go. So what can we do? And then we'll start asking you questions about what can we do to change our results, because it is in your court and you get to decide as the business owner what needs to change. But sometimes you do need that coach just to make you aware. Hey, get out your feelings. Get out your feelings.
Yeah.
Is this really important to you? If it is, let's make adjustments and keep going. And if it's really not that important to you and you want to let it go, let it go. But those are your decisions to make as the business owner. And they can be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
having
like that,
that coach. Yeah.
Go ahead, Timothy.
Yeah, so I like that checking in periodically
Mhm.
because that's very important. And going back to what Lauren said and Tony elaborated on it in terms of with his new concept that he wanted to have a paying client in that second quarter, I think he said. So setting goals that are attainable, which is one of the components of the acronym.
Mm-hmm.
And Lauren mentioned it in terms of like from a financial standpoint, if you're in debt and you're trying to get out of debt, having those milestones that you can see some growth and say, if you have 5 credit cards with balances and you knock off the smallest one, and then you have 4 more to go and you knock the first one off in 2 months, that gives you momentum to keep going.
Yes.
Or, instead of looking at, I need to lose 50 pounds, say, I want to lose 10.
I need to lose 10, exactly.
Yeah,
Or even 5.
Right. Sometimes it's just that 1 pound. Let me just get the 1 pound.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep it off.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then you can build upon that like a building
Exactly.
block, right? So eventually you will get to 10. And if
Yes.
you keep at it, you will get to 50, but you can't get discouraged in the middle and just say, you know what, this just don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where your coach can come in and say, hey, no, remember why you wanted to do that. Remember why.
Yeah.
And when you bring it back to why, then you're like, okay, yes, that is important to me.
Yes.
It's like it's helping figure out the why. Has that helped you kind of like move past those blocks where you've needed to kind of adjust or pivot or
Yes,
make changes and stuff?
absolutely. It when your why is strong enough, you can get through any setback. Maybe you will be in your feelings for a minute, but eventually, especially if you have a coach that can help get you out of that feeling and then into action, then you can start making progress again. But yes, trust me, y'all, I've been through it all.
Mhm.
And it can be devastating, especially if you are feeling alone and you don't have community or someone to support you.
That's why we got this space.
That's right.
We got this space right here.
That's right.
I
Okay.
love it.
I love it too.
So
can I
Michelle
add something
mentioned
before we move on?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I guess just to sort of pivot off of like, allowing yourself to have those feelings, but also like keeping a certain degree of like being humble. Like it feels bad to be proven wrong or to show that you don't know something. But I'm thinking about like a specific client I've worked with where like, so they had a goal to lower their COGS basically. It was too high of a percentage of their income.
That's a
And so
good
I think
story.
we're yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, thank you. So we're spinning our wheels about How do we do that? This is kind of like a big driver of how it can become more profitable. And then, so inevitably that comes to the conversation of like, okay, your business offers a bunch of different services. Which do you feel is the most profitable? And like, you could kind of see the look on their face of them being like, I don't even know that. Which is, it's kind of vulnerable to have someone like a third party come in and say like, hey, here's a metric you should know about your business, but you don't. So I kind of want to spin that into like, if you feel like you're trying to set a SMART goal and you feel like sort of lost in that, like zoom in and get on the granular level. It doesn't necessarily have to be like an external factor of hitting X amount of revenue. A goal you could have for a quarter would be to just have a better understanding of how your business operates from the previous year. And like maybe that's just the first building block. So like quarter one goal is to better understand profitability of specific services. Quarter two goal is to invest more time and effort into the most profitable one. And then that sort of piggybacks into the overall like more profitability of the business.
I love that you said that. I love that because it's like we put so much into the tangibility, like the feeling of the increase of something, not including our expertise or just knowing ways of doing things. Because when you think about, like, I know Tony asked about like how do you like sit and write these goals? Sometimes when you're doing a new line of business, you're not going to know everything. You're not going to know the steps that it's actually going to take, and you're seeing that firsthand. But when you take the time to really learn your operations and learn your business, and okay, it takes Evan X amount of hours, so hours tracking is huge. It takes Eric amount of hours to do this. I remember we did this when we were talking about, okay, we want to expand to this line of service to this, but it took me this long to do it, so it's going to cost the business this much. Like, taking the step back to learn how your company runs and the different pieces that people are doing to ensure that things continue while you're building, or, these are the small things that I think people kind of tend to overlook when we have these grand things in our head that we want to get done. So I love that the humility in saying, okay, I need to learn more about this is a huge point to make, Evan. So awesome. That was really good.
And that's growth. And that goes back to the visionary slide and leadership. Like when you're the leader, it is your responsibility to understand. It is. Because that's like, then you can make decisions that can help the business grow. Right. Yeah.
And you can't teach something you don't know.
That is true.
If you want someone to take it over.
Yeah, I think people think that like being a good leader is just having the answer to everything, but it's really just, like maintaining a level of humbleness and like just honesty. Because like I can think of it feels so much better to have like a direct report to your boss or something if you ask them a question instead of them assuming that they know it or trying to play it off, just being like, I don't know this either. Let's figure this out together. Like that is so much more of I see that as a much more like supportive person to have in camp than someone that just assumes they have it. Or will, it just feels good to have like that level of humility with people.
Yeah.
And like you're inevitably
coupled with the confidence. Yeah. Humility coupled with the confidence that you'll figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also, to the point, Evan, a good leader is also defined by having good people around them.
Yes. Very, very much so, Timothy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bars.
Yes.
Knowledgeable people. Yeah.
Yes.
Ethical people.
Yes, exactly.
Major bar.
Yes. Okay. So the 12-week year, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this book. So there's a copy on the screen, but this book, 12-week year. Basically, the premise is like we tend to set annualized goals, like for an annual basis. And to be honest, I've struggled with this for quite some time. So I'm always looking at the next 90 days, not necessarily the whole year. But if I compile my 4 90-day sprints, it will get me to the year, right? Because I don't know really what's happening in the third quarter of I have an idea of what we plan to do, kind of, but what it actually is going to be is, it is a guess, right? So basically, the 12-week year is saying, let's just look at things in a 90-day sprint instead of annualized. And that's not even saying, okay, we're going to take our annual goal and do 25% of it in 90 days. We could take that annual goal and do 100% of it in the 12 weeks or 90 days. 100% of an annual goal in 90 days. How quickly do you see things changing in your business? If you could take, let's say, two, two objectives that you have in your business that you were thinking, okay, it's going to take me a year to do this. But what if it's just two 90-day sprints? Because what that does, it really focuses your efforts on a daily basis, not saying, oh, we didn't hit our goal for January, so we have 11 more months we can make up. We can make up time, right? But you can't make up time. Time is the one commodity that you can never get back. It once it's gone, it's gone. So why should it take a year to do something that you can actually do in 90 days? So for instance, let's go back to the goal that Evan was talking about, and a business owner understanding their operations of their business and what it costs to deliver a service. Like, it's knowledge. You need to gain knowledge. It's not going to take you a year to gain that knowledge. You can gain that knowledge within the 12 weeks. And then once you have that knowledge in the next 12 weeks, now we can set goals to take action on the knowledge that you have gained, right? So it doesn't take us a whole year to accomplish something when we can accomplish it in shorter sprints. And what I love about the 12-week year is you get to decide, one, what the objective is. So, and the book talks about only picking one or two, because you're going to be hyper focused on what it is. And then you have daily activities, like your habits that you have, that, let's take the weight loss goal. Your habits, one of the things you could be doing is making a meal plan for the week, then go and get groceries. Like, if I make a meal plan and I go get groceries and I prepare the meals, all I got to do then is eat them, right? So that will help you with your calorie intake because you've planned out your week. And if you made your meal plan, you went and got groceries, and you prepared the meals, the likelihood of you staying within your calorie deficit for losing weight is more likely if you've done those activities, right? Or it could be, maybe it's a fitness goal, and your fitness goal is you want to run a 5K. Well, are you walking first? Like, you just don't get up and run a 5K. Are you actually doing the activity to get you to run that 5K at the end of that quarter? So it's the same thing with your finances. Setting that arbitrary financial goal, are you doing the activity that is going to take in order to reach that financial goal? So how many calls did you have? How many calls did you convert? How many new clients do you have? All of that matters. All of that matters. And if you're doing those activities on a weekly basis, eventually they will compound into new clients. And those new clients come with revenue, so that impacts your overall revenue goal. So it's just breaking those things down into a shorter time frame, and getting clarity on the actual activities that it's going to take for you to reach that objective. That's why the 12-week year is so powerful, because you can do things in a much more condensed time because you're hyper focused on it.
I feel like this book can kind of go hand in hand with Atomic Habits, because that
Oh,
helps you
absolutely.
to think through, like, okay, what are the habits I really need to do? And then how do I create incentives to do them regularly? So, for example, I personally am dealing with talking to strangers. As an introvert, talking to strangers is not my favorite thing to do, but as a part of a business, that's like literally the thing you need to do, is just continue to talk to people and talk to people and get them and get your voice out there. And so, and it, from an Atomic habit standpoint, I have to incentivize myself. Like, how do I make it more enjoyable for me to do this thing that gives me anxiety, right? And then coupling that with, like, okay, but if I continue to do these habits, this is how it works into my 12-week goal for this year. I think those two books together could
Yes,
pack a powerful punch.
they are a powerful punch. Have you guys heard of the 12-week year before?
I think you talked about it a few, like maybe
From you.
yeah, from you.
Heard
Yeah.
it from you.
Oh, I'm always getting a new book, but this one is really good. Like, I think I read this for the first time about 2 years ago. So, and it's just giving me a different perspective on goal setting and how to actually accomplish the things that you want in your life.
And it's on Audible.
It is on Audible. Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos about it too.
Yes, I stole this graphic. But I thought it was a good summarization of what you need to do. I do have a question about the 13th week. I'm not super familiar with
Yes.
that. Do you know how
Sure.
that is?
Yes, I do know what the 13th week is. So the 13th, so in each quarter, there's 13 weeks, which is 90 days. The 13th week is the week of celebration and reset. So it's the week that you celebrate what you accomplished, reset for the next 90 days, for the next 12 weeks. So that's what the 13th week is.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a nice wrap up.
I know, right? I
That's
love,
right.
like, it's just a good concept to follow.
It is. We forget to celebrate our wins. We do.
Yes, we do. We do. And we forget about what actually worked, because the things that didn't work annoy us so much that we forget about what actually
What
worked.
did work.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Awesome. Any questions? Any comments?
Feedback.
Anything on your heart?
I think you got a theme going with these roundtables
Really?
since December, because we were talking we were talking about reflecting on our wins in December, right? I think that's how we
Mhm.
close the year. So it's cool to like come back to it like 2 months in, especially during planning, so we can again reflect on our wins again in another 2 months.
Yes.
Yes, bring a friend.
Yes.
Bring a friend to the round table. And I had an idea, because the next couple of slides, we're just talking about some of the things that Mitchell Consulting has going on. But as we're trying to expand our community, I think it may be worth holding space for our community to talk about what's going on with them. And maybe you guys can further support each other through this channel. Because sometimes, when we have 4 or 5 other entrepreneurs, everybody has things that they're also doing or trying to,
Things you're
market and stuff like that.
trying to accomplish. So what are you working on and how can we help?
Right. Exactly. And how can our community help each other
Help.
also, even if we're not able to, step in and be there. So next, just, if you want to schedule a consult, feel free. We are here to discuss your in particular goal, we want to learn more about you to see how we can support. So feel free to use this QR code if you'd like to schedule some time with us. We are here and available to talk. And that's all. So Timothy and Tony, anything you guys have going on that you'd like to specifically talk about, that how can we support you guys?
Well, I'll just share, one of the things that I do is also income tax preparation. So now's that time of season to
Yes.
get your taxes prepared. So that's a service that I provide. And just wanted to encourage people to keep good records. Um, and then as you are working with your tax preparer, if there are taxes that are owed, understand why you owe taxes and try to remedy that so you don't have to repeat that cycle all over again. And then identifying ways to minimize the amount of taxes that you owe. So those are the things that I would like to keep people aware of. And one last thing, for those that don't have all the information together and they want to file for an extension, just know that extension is an extension of time to file, not an extension of time to pay.
Right.
So
It's the truth.
Like,
It is the
Timothy,
truth.
I have a few questions for you. One is, how do you keep good records? I don't know. What's that process like?
well,
The second one I had was, how do you, like, is there a difference with how much you owe in taxes? Like, I thought it's just like whatever percentage you have in net profit, that's what you owe. That's what you pay taxes on. Or you
okay.
think there's ways to get that
Well,
down to a point where you don't have to owe anything.
Yeah, from a business standpoint, the better your record keeping, the more expenses. Keep in mind your expenses have to be ordinary and necessary to be classified as a qualified expense for your business. But the better you keep your records, the more expenses you are able to claim, thereby reducing the amount of net income that you have to report. So that's how you lower your taxes, is by reducing the amount of net income that you have to report. But in terms of keeping good records, if you have a business, I have a business credit card or a business account that I make sure everything that's business related go through those accounts.
Or you could just talk to Mitchell Consulting. Go ahead and schedule a consult.
That's right. I'm like, Timothy, you talking our language. Listen, we might have to partner with Timothy because he can get you on the tax end, and we can get you. Hey, this is what we do.
That's what we do.
This is what we do. We keep your record straight, right?
Yep.
So when they get to Timothy, everything is in order, right?
Yes.
But what Timothy does, he helps you do tax strategy so you can reduce your tax liability. We help you keep your records in order, so he got something to work with, people.
So when I talk to Timothy, he's like, okay, now this is where we can move it.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I think Evan's got me squared away, so I'm
yes.
Evan just says, keep it. Hold on to this.
So if you guys need to reach Timothy, you can reach out to us and we'll connect you with Timothy. And make sure, we'll make sure you have his contact information.
Yes.
Yes, I love that.
I love that.
Then Tony said his new venture is creating stories for businesses, right? Like a story. What can you explain more of what that looks like?
The company story. So we do, like, the process is an interview style, using and B-roll footage of the work that you do. But it's really just an introspective view on your business and why you do what you do. Very similar to what Michelle was saying about, like, understanding the why is so important for you. Like, we believe that just like you understanding your why is important, but I think the people that see you and work with you is just as important. So we're taking a really artistic and creative view on capturing those moments on footage, which is kind of rare for people to be vulnerable and have those conversations. But I think it's something that conversations that need to be had more often with businesses, because that's where you find your community, is with people understanding your why, not just the products that you sell. So that's kind of the gist of it. And we're working with a bunch of people from nonprofits to like businesses and to artists. So yeah.
Love
Very
that.
cool.
So if y'all want to get in touch with Tony, click the QR code and we'll connect you.
Yeah, texturehouse.us.
Connect you.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I do Mitchell Consulting. Well, you'll understand more when you see Mitchell Consulting.
Yes.
Mitchell and Mitchell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. This was great, y'all. Thank you, Timothy and Tony, for making time to be with us during this. I hope you gained a lot of insight and or at least got some sort of new idea from this. I know goal setting can be super laborious, not something we really want to talk about / boring, but I think you were able to really chat about things that are super valuable to the entrepreneur CEO. Like, it's things that we have to do, and we're really all trying to just get at it. So hopefully you gained some insight and got something valuable from here. And we hope to see you next month. We will be
Yes.
back.
Bring a
on-
friend.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Thank
Bring
you
a
all so much.
friend.
Yeah, you guys kill it every time.
Thank you.
Aw, thanks, Tony.
Thank
See
you.
you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.